I have just created my new file system on DevSDB1. Now let's start using it. So to use it, there's the mount command. As always, it's a good idea to use command --help to get an overview of all the options that are available. Let's directly pipe it through less to make sure that we see everything that's possible on one screen. Now the basic thing that I need to do here is something like mount followed by some options. Then we need a source, which is the device that we want to mount, and a mount is typically towards a directory. So basically the mount command would be mount dev sdb1 on a directory. Now if you want to make a final mount and make it reoccurring, it makes sense to create a dedicated directory for that. If you just want to test your new device, there's a directory that has been specifically created for that, and that is mnt. As you can see, the system doesn't get back with any warning, so I probably was okay creating my mount. To verify that, I can type just the mount command, and whoa, do you see that? There are so many devices that are mounted into the file system. Now, mounting means connecting some specific device or functionality or whatever to a directory. So everything that's accessible on your Linux system from a directory is mounted. And that includes many system settings, like security FS or the proc file system or the sys file system or C groups or many things, way too many things. The only thing that I'm interested in is just to see if my file system was mounted successfully. In order to do that, there's a couple of tricks that you can apply. My favorite one, just type mount pipe grep and tell grep that it should filter on any string that starts with /dev. And here you can see that just 3 devices are mentioned, which is the root device. I'll cover that later, it's a logical volume. The SCA1 device, which we are using for booting, and the SDB1 device. So my mount was successful. Now if after using your test mount you want to disconnect the device, that's something you need to do manually as well. You can just rip off a USB key from your system and expect your system to be happy about that, because if there were any files open on the device, well, they risk getting damaged. So you need to unmount the device, and in order to do an unmount you are going to use the umount command. So the right command to use here is umount on devsdb1, or if you like, umount on /mnt. When using umount you can specify either the device or the directory from which you want the device to disconnect. As you can see here, my SDB1 is no longer present. Now there is one annoying little thing, and that is the name of the device. So the device I've just created is known as SDB1, but that might change. When booting, the kernel automatically detects all the devices that are present, and it will create the device names at that moment. And that means that you only need to leave a USB stick in your server for the device names to change. And that means that if you make references to specific device names like devsdb1, hey, tomorrow it might be devsdc1, and that means that your mounts won't work any longer. And that's annoying. Now if you want to do something about it, there are different solutions. You can use UUIDs, for example. The command to use to display the UIDs is blockid. As you can see here, it displays all the devices that are existing. We can see even more devices than the devices that we've just filtered out using the mount command, like the swap device and like the device that is used just for LVM and doesn't contain any file system, and the SDB1 device that we've just created. Now do you remember that when creating it I use a label to give a name to the device? You can see the label here as well as the UUID. Now there are some differences between the label and the UUID. Basically, the UUID is randomly generated and it should be worldwide unique. The label is set by the administrator and it should be easy to use. You can use either of them when mounting your device. Look, when I type mount label equals my FS, that's the syntax to refer to the device you want to mount. And I specify a directory, that also works. So let's repeat my mount command. Do you remember Ctrl R, the reverse I search? That's a convenient command to use right now to search back in history for commands that contains the text mount. I do Ctrl R again and I can see the command I was looking for, the mount with the grep on the devices. And you can see here, even if I used a label to mount the device, it is still known as DevSDB1. And in the next lesson you will learn that you can use these labels or even UUIDs in the fstab file, which is used to automate mounts during system boot.